Jack and Victor may be brothers? What? And Billy's going down yet another slippery slope with his gambling problem. Stay tuned for this week's Restless Wrap.
You're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz begin.
Hey everyone, I'm Rachel Goodman and I'm here to discuss another week's Restless Wrap. We have had a crazy couple of weeks, especially last week with everything happening with all the drama. As I mentioned in the intro, we have a lot with Jack and Victor. We have Shana and dealing with everything with Devon. We have Billy. So many things to discuss, so let's just jump right in. But before we do that, I just want to give a shout out to all the fans we have in the chat right now. We have Hubby Joe, War Hero 99, Haywood Wong, Klex Amphers, aka Tiffany, Nikisha Jones, Rainey, and I believe right now, oh, nope, that's it. All right, so we have a bunch of people in the chat who are my lovely co-hosts. Let's go ahead and jump in. Just so you know, too, I'm going to go ahead and we're going to talk about our first topic, and then I'm going to ask for call-ins, so if anyone's listening live, you'll be able to call in and talk. So, other thing I wanted to say, we've had a couple comments in the chat worth mentioning, a lot of comments worth mentioning. Rainey J says, it's scary seeing an addict spiral, talking about Billy and one of her favorite moments. Klex Anvers says, I mean, do you really have to wonder what my favorite parts were, Rachel? Of course, Klex Anvers, aka Tiffany, is our Tessa Mariah. Well, I know a bunch of us are Tessa Mariah people, myself included, but of course, yeah, we had our Tessa Mariah moments on the show, which were amazing. Klex Ambers also says, I actually just finished catching up on their scenes from the last few weeks. I love their love, but if Tessa hurts Mariah, not going to be pretty. Nikisha Jones agrees with that. Rainey J thinks that Tessa is using Mariah, so that might be a good place for us to start today if we want to talk about Tessa and Mariah, and then we'll have call-ins. So I know, Tiffany, if you call in, you can definitely talk about them. But let's just get started here. So, all right, Tessa and Mariah. We've had a lot of drama with them. We've had, as we all know, for a long time, we didn't even know if they were going to get together. Finally, over the summer, they did, but then Tessa left. Now she's kind of back. Well, definitely back, and where we kind of pick up with this week is she's been attacked. We don't really know who the attacker is, and she didn't even want to tell Mariah what was going on, but it was so obvious, and when Mariah confronted her about it in Crimson Lights, Tessa was like, nope, nothing here. I just kind of, bumped myself. And when Mariah was like, no, that doesn't make any sense. The way you're acting, you're wincing in pain. Mariah ends up seeing all these like bruises on her arms and her back. It's like, whoa, like what did this guy do, or this person, I'm sorry, what did this person do to her? Because it did not look like just a little, scuffle there. It looked like she had been pretty battered. So let's see, we have another comment here. Candace Mac says, I feel as though the writers are unsure about Tessa's storyline, and I would definitely agree with that. And the reason why, we've got a lot going on with Tessa. We've had issues with her where we know, she wasn't involved in the sex ring. Crystal, her sister, was, but we just don't know exactly what's going on with her past, and it keeps feeling like the writers are teasing that she's somehow involved in this situation, but then we don't know exactly how, or kind of like what Candice is saying, we just don't have a really clear picture of what is happening with her. They kind of keep just teasing it. So we kind of go along with Tessa and Mariah the whole week. I mean, they weren't involved the whole week, but they had their scenes. Tessa ends up getting a job with Dark Horse, and we in like a moment that actually kind of scared me because I thought Tessa was going to get attacked again. The lights, I think they turned either off or on. I kind of forget which way it went, and Tessa was like, all right, who's coming in to attack me now? And it's like, okay, yeah, who are these people after her and what's going on? It's just Mariah coming in, and I really feel like at this point, to keep Tessa safe, she really, hopefully, Mariah said she was just going to stay and basically work with her so that she didn't feel scared or anything. But I'm curious what they're going to do with this and what exactly is happening with it. It was kind of funny, too, that Tessa, in this moment of panic, decided that she was going to take a stapler in order to staple whoever was attacking her. I thought that was interesting. A little bit funny and interesting, but a good way, an interesting thing. I guess when you're in a rush like that, you just pick whatever you can find. So let's go ahead and open up the line for callers. I know people probably are going to want to talk about Tessa and Mariah, but we'll kind of switch here until we get callers in. The number, if you are listening live right now, it is 5:23 p.m. on September 23rd. If you're listening live right now, you can call 424-354-8302. Again, that number is 424-354-8302. Go ahead and call in and we can talk Y&R. Okay, so let's segue here and talk a little bit about everything happening with Jack, because he had a pretty beefy week this week in terms of everything happening with Albert Miller and Matt Miller and his search to find his father. So as we know, he's been kind of on this search, this quest. Jack's had many different theories about who it was. He's acted on some of them. With the Chancellors trying to exhume the body in order to get the DNA test. Well, now he's on to Albert Miller and trying to discover if this is his father, and now he needs either a DNA test from either Victor or Matt. Matt is the other brother, and this week they sort of showed a flashback to the time when we had Nick and Victor meeting Albert, and he seemed like a real jerk. Looks like we have a caller on the line. Hi, this is Rachel. Who do we have on the line?
Hey, Rachel, it's Candace Mac. How you doing?
Hey, Candace. Good. How about you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. So I was talking about Jack. Did you have anything you wanted to say about that whole DNA situation and what's going on with him this week?
They took this story to the line of, okay, let's just hurry this up.
Yeah.
I feel like this is a wild goose chase, and the thing is, for long-time viewers, the history of them saying about Philip Chancellor and, of course, Albert, that's fine and dandy. But now they're getting a little too crazy with the storyline. I felt for Jack. I still feel for Jack because it's like, okay, who's my daddy this week?
Yeah.
Who's my daddy? And he's going around the mulberry bush. And for it to be, if him and Victor are, that is just okay, Young and Restless.
It feels like it's all in the family. Because theoretically, if this happens to be true, that makes Victor his brother and Ashley's his sister. He could theoretically say, yes, my brother and my sister were married, and yes, my brother and my sister had a baby together. And okay, yes, they're not, Victor and Ashley aren't related this week, but it's just what? Oh, I'm sorry.
You're right, because once if the DNA test comes back and says that Victor and Jack are related, then yeah, all of the Abbott Newman stuff is going to be so confusing, because you not only start with Kyle and Summer, but you go with, the fact that Sharon has married both sides of the family, Nikki has married both sides of the family.
Yeah.
Let me see what it's going to be too confusing.
It's so confusing.
It's going to be one of those things. Again, if you've been watching Young and Restless, they did this years ago with Jill and Katherine. Because everybody knows that Jack and Victor has the best feuds ever in soap history. And for them to be no.
Well, at least I think the rumor before was that this was a long shot, but some people were saying that Victor was going to be his dad and that he had him really young.
Yes, I mean, I remember that when they had said that, and I had loved that the writers, because I swore the writers was looking on social media, because they did, when Jack had a dream and Victor had said, "I'm your father," and that's when Jack woke up and was like, "No." It was like kind of like saying like, "Okay, we saw what you guys wrote, but
like no." That's really.
It's just, to me, this storyline. I mean, maybe. I mean, I have a theory about somebody setting this whole thing in motion, and that Jack is seriously, truly, and we're going to find this out, that he is an Abbott. Like, that's what I think is going to happen, is somebody is playing mind games with him to teach him a lesson.
That's what I think, too. I think it's going to be this whole thing. Jack's going to be an Abbott. Then he's going to go and try to get Jabot back. And it's going to be a very messy, even messier, especially with what's happening with Billy. But it's just, I have a feeling you're right that he is going to be an Abbott and that all of this for nothing. I'm still interested to see what happens with that DNA test. The thing is, too, it feels so unrealistic that, oh, yeah, we're going to take a DNA sample. We will have it by sometime tomorrow. No, I don't. As far as I'm aware, you wouldn't just get it back like that. It would take some time.
It's the miracle of soaps, Rachel. Don't you know the rules of soapland? You don't have to go to a doctor's appointment. I mean, you have doctor's appointments, but everything is fine. You don't go to the bathroom.
It's magic.
Yeah, it's magic in the air.
Yeah, oh my God. Well, thank you so much for calling in, and we'll have to see what happens with Jack.
Yeah, so you guys take it easy. Have a good night.
Yeah, you too. Bye. Okay, so let's see. Maybe just let's see what's going on in the chat, and maybe just a couple more things about Jack and Victor, and then we'll move on. So, Nikisha says, "I'm glad I'm right. Victor's related to Jack." Kenneth Clark, hi Kenneth. "I missed Tracy. Oh my God, Jack and Victor being bros. Yeah." Nikisha, way better than being his father. Yeah, it's funny because Candace and I were, as you guys heard, just talking about that and how there was that rumor and Jack had that hilarious dream. No, he's not my father. I mean, I remember we were discussing this months ago, or I guess it was months ago at this point, when this whole Jack thing started. Honestly, when the Jack thing first came about, where he wasn't an Abbott, Dina had an affair, I felt like they were just like, it was kind of on the heels of everything that happened with Ashley. And even though we already knew Ashley was not an Abbott, that she was related to Brent Davis. I'm sorry if it was Brett and not Brent, but I feel like the whole thing with Jack came right after another issue that Ashley had in public with Graham and them discussing her true, parentage. So I just feel like it felt very contrived. And then to keep this storyline going, this was not the storyline I expected to keep on moving along here. And it's just like, okay, well, who's his dad going to be next week? I don't know what they're going to do with that. If it turns out that he is actually Victor's brother, I'm leaning toward what Candace is saying too about him actually just being an Abbott. But if it does turn out that they're brothers, this changes everything. So, Miss Bubbles, "I hate this senseless rewrite of history. This is why people make fun of soaps. This makes no sense. This only worked if it was plotted from the beginning, like General Hospital, Carly/Bobby, AMC, Kendall/Erica. Kenneth Clark says, "Was Friday Eileen's last episode? Who would you want to play her? Brenda Epperson would be awesome again." If anyone knows in the chat, or if you're not listening live and you happen to know, it didn't feel like her last episode. I would guess we're gonna know, kind of like with Hillary. We'll probably have there'll be a build-up, is my thought process on this. I could be wrong. So if this was somehow her last episode or her last week, definitely let me know on that. Okay, so that's enough of Jack and Victor, I think, for 1 week. Well, I'm sure we're going to see more of them next week. Okay, Candace, Eileen's last day of taping was Friday. So as you guys may be aware of, obviously if they're taping, I believe they tape months in advance. So we're not going to see, oh no, I think I'm wrong on that. Candace says her last episode will be in 2 weeks. So when they tape ahead, they tape 2 weeks in advance. So, yeah, we're obviously going to see something. Speaking of Ashley, we can touch on that a little bit now. Just in passing here, we had the whole thing with Neil and everything happening with her and Jabot. She's clearly not like, so Ashley this week was really big between Ashley and Kyle because Kyle is obviously scheming and trying to have things happen and work in his favor with Jabot. Thanks for calling into Restless Wrap. Who do we have on the line?
This is Max.
Hey, Max. So I was just starting to talk about everything with, I guess we can talk about Billy and Ashley and Jabot and Kyle. How did you feel things were going with, I guess, let's start with Billy.
I'm really just like, I'm really over Billy. Like, at first, I got where he was coming from because I know what it's like where it's like, oh, no one believes in me, no one's in my corner, everyone's conspiring against me. But at the same time, it's like, okay, you're gambling with company funds.
Yeah.
I'm on Ashley's side now. Like, you need to go.
Yeah.
You have a problem.
He's got...
And I think it's very silly. He thinks he can just control addiction like that. Like, imagine if Jack was like, oh, I'm going to do pills and it's fine. Or, like, if Nikki was like, oh, I'm going to go back to drinking alcohol every day because it's fine. Like, no, that's... Billy has an addiction like everyone else.
Yeah. And that's the thing, too, is that when Billy was talking to, I think, Victoria about this, he made the reference, like, he was trying to compare himself to someone who was a monk who didn't, he was like, oh, even if you're a monk, that doesn't mean, or like someone who had like a sex, maybe not a monk, maybe it was a sex addict is what he was saying. Doesn't mean you can't have sex. Well, Billy, it is a little bit different, considering just like you said. Yeah. If you're an alcoholic, you don't drink. You don't just say I'm gonna have one because, yeah, I've seen that story too many times. One leads to like a binge.
A lot.
Yeah.
A lot.
So you just you don't. He's just. It's very interesting. It kind of stinks too because Summer got him back into it, and now everything happening with that is a mess. Especially with everything with Summer and Phyllis. What did you think of their conversation and how Summer is behaving?
I don't feel bad for Summer. Like,
Yeah.
I don't. If she would have like expressed this when it happened, because when all the things she was talking about happened, it was like, okay, she should have. If she was really that hurt over it, she should have said something. Like, I don't think coming back years later talking about you used to do this and you used to do that and you ran over people with your car. I was like, that you weren't even born when that happened. Like, why are you even mad about that?
Yeah.
It just seems like a weird, lame excuse to just have really bad behavior. Personally, I think it has nothing. Like, I feel like it has something to do with Phyllis, but like not entirely. I just think like when she was out in the world, she really got like messed up or hardened by like the hardness of the world or whatnot.
Yeah.
Like I wasn't buying this whole. Well, it's really your fault that I tried to sleep with your boyfriend. Like, no.
No. Yeah, I didn't feel bad for her. I actually felt bad for Phyllis, and I get it. Phyllis, I didn't watch the soap when Summer was on as a child, if they ever had her on as a child. I'm assuming they did.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
And, they switched out her actress like halfway between her like arc of being a teenager. I've never really felt bad for Summer. Summer's done atrocious things like too. Like I think there was one storyline where she got her and her best friend, who was a guy at the time, bullied. I think was cyberbullying this one kid that was adopted or whatever.
Wow.
Summer just has a history of doing bad things. That's why I also don't feel bad that Kyle stopped talking to her and was like, look, this is unhealthy, you need to stop.
Yeah.
I was actually very proud of Kyle for like noticing that this is a toxic pattern that needs to stop. Like,
yeah, because the thing with Kyle, when he first came on the scene this time, I didn't especially like him, but now I actually think he's a good character. Yeah, he has some gray areas, but it's interesting. And I felt bad for him with Summer because he clearly had deep feelings for her, and she just kept manipulating him and using him, and just like even her apology to him at Jabot, I wasn't sure. Like, that's the problem with Summer. She's such a liar that I can't tell what's real and what's true.
Exactly. You do tell so many lies, you can't know what's real.
Yeah, and for Kyle to step back and say, hey, I'm not dealing with this anymore, that's, good on him, because she's just going to keep repeating that pattern. So
personally, I don't think it's going to last. I feel like once Kyle starts dating Lola and it gets serious, like something's gonna happen. He's gonna like get back into bed with Summer,
Yeah.
and then Lola's gonna be heartbroken, and it's gonna be a big thing. Like I can see the story coming from a mile away.
Yeah.
Like
Because Lola's.
It's gonna be another Tessa and Mariah thing where it's like, oh, I love you, but I can't because I'm in a relationship, but I'm gonna sleep with you anyway, and it's just a mess.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a mess. I can see it coming.
And Lola, she's like one of those characters who's very, like she seems like she's obviously very genuine, very hard worker, very like, she's not gonna mess around. So if some guy does that to her, she's gonna just cut him off. Right now, she already seems like she's hesitant. So I'm curious, like I don't like how
I'm actually happy about this whole new family storyline because it's getting a little stale with the same old Newmans, Abbotts, Winters, and whatnot.
Yeah.
I'm glad they're throwing like a new little family in there, especially like a family of color. Like, no offense, young Larissa is really white. Like,
yeah.
So,
And with Lily, I mean, so Lily too, I had heard that she's going down to recurring status. So I know we're not going to see as much of them anyway. Yeah. Well,
which makes sense unless they like get her out.
Yeah, exactly. What are they really going to do? So, but thank you so much for calling in.
Thank you for having me once again.
Yeah, of course. Have a great week.
You too.
Bye. Okay, so let's see. Let's check in with the chat here. Candace Mac, it might be they're talking about Ashley. It might be 2 weeks or mid-October when we see her final episode. Hubby Joe, Summer made her own bed, now she can lay in it. Rainy J, Summer can go. Hubby Joe, Kyle and Lola, new couple. Oh, here's a good one. Cola. Kola. Hashtag Cola. I like that. So the idea of Kyle and Lola as a couple sounds interesting to me. It would be more genuine than this whole Summer Kyle thing, but just like Max was saying, I feel like when right now Summer wants what she can't have, I think that's her big thing. But then even grander than that, the idea of Kyle actually dating someone else, she is not going to go for that, and that she obviously tried hard for Billy, but she's gonna probably try to do things to Kyle too to basically try to seduce him again. Well, here we go. Hubby Joe, hashtag Cola. So, all right, I will be curious what happens with Summer. I agree. I don't like her. I want her to have redeeming moments, but I feel like maybe now that Hillary's gone, and even before Hillary was gone, she was turning over a new leaf. Y&R needed a new female, or not just female, but like a new kind of antagonistic character to come onto the scene. I feel like they have that with Summer. So that's probably why they did it, how they did it. And she's not going to just redeem herself. It's going to take a lot. But I like I've said, since Summer came into the scene to begin with, I want to see why. I agree with Max that it doesn't feel like Summer's just saying, oh, well, to Phyllis, you did X, Y, and Z. You did all these bad things, and that's why I'm the way I am. That's why I don't know how we can be the same. And Summer's trying to blame her mom for all these things. When the first of all, why everyone on this show has done things that weren't so great. Why is she so caught up in blaming Phyllis and not Nick? Not that, she really has a lot she could blame Nick for. If anyone wants to disagree with me or point out some things he's done, I'm sure there are things. I'm just not. As long as I've been watching the soap, Nick has generally been a very, just a good all-around guy. So it doesn't seem like he would do anything the way that I've heard with Phyllis, but you never know. And I just feel like Summer is putting a lot of blame on her mom and not on her dad. And it sounds like a lot of where this is coming from is that her parents are divorced and she, liked Jack a lot and Phyllis isn't with Jack anymore. And that she didn't want her with Billy, which, seducing the boyfriend because you don't want them together, really crazy. And it just seems like it's very unfair that Summer is putting all of this on her mom. Maxwell Comics, lol, ship Kyle and Lola all day. He's gonna break her heart and go back to Summer. Yeah, I can see that happening too, even though obviously they're going to date. But we'll see what happens with that. All right, let's switch topics here and let's kind of get into everything happening with Ray and Sharon. So first of all, as everyone probably knows, we saw Sharon graduate from Genoa City University, and I have to say, this is the first time I saw the actual name of the university. It kind of had me cracking up because everything is Genoa City in that town. At least it feels that way to me. So we had Sharon gave a speech. She actually ends up referencing her mental health, and Mariah was there, Nick was there, all the other, students were there. My question is, though, why would they be graduating in September? Unless it was somehow, like the end of the summer semester. But so typically, as a former college student, you wouldn't just, at least the way my school did things, you wouldn't just graduate in September. You would either graduate in the winter, so like maybe December, or you'd graduate in the spring if you were, I guess a traditional 4-year, and you did it in, you started in, August, September, and then 4 years later, you'd graduate in the spring in like April or May. Or, like, I did know some students that they'd graduate in December, but that was, but you wouldn't graduate in September. Usually the summer semester, I mean, I know this is very nitpicky. I just found myself wondering, like, why did they do it in September? And why not just have her wait till December, which is probably what would have happened when the end of the fall term was over. But, if anyone has comments on that, we can talk about that too. But in any case, I mean, it's still cool she graduated. I just was questioning the month. So meanwhile, Sharon gives this really inspirational speech on mental health and how she still graduated and was able to complete the degree. Rainey says, congrats to Sharon. Why wasn't Faith there? Good question. Why wasn't Faith there? And we haven't seen her in a while. So actually, Hubby Joe was asking the same question. Where's Faith? Hubby Joe actually says right now, could Ray and Sharon be a couple? Hashtag, here it is, Shay. SHEY. Yeah. We're coming up with all kinds of cool hashtags tonight. So that was, okay, let's get into Ray then. So first of all, Ray, as this whole week was starting up, we have everything happening with Ray and Arturo. Sorry if I said that wrong. I don't exactly roll my R's the right way. We had everything going on with Arturo and with Lola, and apparently Lola was talking to Ray behind Arturo's back, and they were just like Ray and Lola were trying to kind of fix their relationship, even though Ray, as we can see from the food truck, is very protective of her and is like, if she's dating anyone, he needs to know who it is, which is going to be real fun if she dates Kyle, because I could see Ray having a huge problem with that. But in any case, back to the point, which is that Ray, we kind of see a little bit with Arturo and Ray and Lola, but then as it relates to Sharon, Ray, who's been investigating all of them for the disappearance of JT, he tells Paul that, look, listen, Sharon's the weakest link. I'm going to try to build trust with her and get her to tell me what really happened. So, just to let you guys know, we could probably take one more call. If you wanted to call in live, we have someone asking what the number is. It's 424-354-8302. So if you are listening live right now, we could probably take one more caller if anyone wants to call in. So, just getting back to Ray, he's telling Paul that he wants Sharon to be the person he brings into work there. So how convenient, which could be why they had Sharon graduate right before this whole plot twist, which is that Sharon does start working at the station with Paul. Ray has her desk moved right there next to his. And as Hubby Joe and I were watching this, we were like, I wonder if it's going to be, as Hubby Joe said, a Shay pairing. Thanks for calling Restless Wrap. Who do we have on the line?
Hey, Rachel, Tiffany.
Hey, Tiffany. Thanks for calling in. So I know we touched on Tessa Mariah earlier, but I have to ask you, as our resident Tessa Mariah fan.
Yep, that's me.
Yeah. How do you feel about this week?
You know what? Honestly, like I said, I love the relationship that they have. I always have, always will. But if Tessa is using Mariah, which I honestly don't know at this point if she is or not, I am not going to be too thrilled about it. For one thing, I mean, we've waited so long for this moment to actually come.
Yeah.
For the writers to just be like, well, you know, let's just do this instead. And I get that it's a soap opera and that's what happens, but I'm just like, that couldn't you at least give them a few weeks of peace and happiness? Like, you know, I mean, did you really just have to go right into it? But, no, the thing is that I don't know if she's using Mariah.
Yeah.
Strictly because Mariah has offered on more than one occasion to give her money that she can use. And, I mean, you know, Mariah might not be part of the family so much as Kathy was, if that makes any sense. But, I mean, she is still, like, a part of that family. So, you know, she's got some money saved up.
Yeah. Well, she even said, like, how much do they want? Just tell me and I'll pay it for you. I have the money saved in the account. And Tessa's like, no, I'm not going to take it. So, yeah, that's a really good point. If Tessa was using her, then she would have taken the money. So I don't know. I don't think it's quite that either. But I still feel like there is something shady with Tessa that we don't understand. And like kind of like what Candice was saying, it just feels like they haven't fleshed it out fully because they've been dragging this on for so long, ever since I've been watching. So I just want to,
yeah, they haven't fleshed it out. They haven't really fleshed Tessa out in general at all. Like anything about her. Like, we still have so many unanswered questions, period, about Tessa and about Tessa's past that we're still waiting for the answers for. And I feel like once if we ever get those answers, it might be a lot easier to trust Tessa and to believe what she's saying. Yeah. And I know there's a debate about the phone call being, like, set up and everything, but, I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
Even Sharon said, you know, before she even saw Tessa's bruises, she kind of didn't believe her. But, I mean, I like to believe that Mariah is smarter.
Yeah.
And if she had even the slightest inkling that Tessa was using her for something, she wouldn't be putting up with it. So,
yeah, and
I definitely feel like, you know, this is worth fighting for Mariah at least.
Yeah. And that's the thing, too, is that it's not like Tessa and Mariah don't know each other. They were really, really, really close friends before. So I feel like in terms of judging Tessa's character, Mariah is pretty good, even if she doesn't know specifically what's going on with her or, like, what her past is. In terms of knowing her, like, as a person who's at the core of her, Mariah knows her. So, I trust Mariah's judgment just like you. So I don't think that I don't want to believe that Tessa's using her, but you never know.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, like I said, I just kind of wish, and I feel like and hope that this is the way that they're going about it to flesh out Tessa's character.
Yeah.
Because Candice is right. I mean, we don't know anything about Tessa, in all honesty. I mean, she's always mentioned how her past is horrible and it's going to come back to get her one day. And it's like, okay, well, that's fine. But what is that past exactly?
And we don't even fully, like, we keep getting pieces, but we don't fully understand why. Why are these people attacking her? Like, okay, fine, she owes them money, but we don't really have a clear sense of what's going on. And we never get that clear sense. Even with the sex ring and Crystal, we just don't get, like, we're not seeing the full picture, and it's getting frustrating. But thank you for calling in.
Yeah. Thank you for having me again. Yeah. I didn't realize that the number was different, so.
Oh, yeah. I think they just changed it. So we will talk to you next week.
Yep. I'll talk to you then.
Yeah, bye.
Bye.
Okay, so let's see. The only other thing to really touch on here, just real briefly before we get to our law moment, is everything going on with Shana, Devon, Charlie, Maddie. So even though Lily's in jail and we haven't seen Kane this week, Shauna had her 18th birthday and she didn't want to tell Devon what comes out eventually is that she didn't want to tell him because she had these fears that at 18 he was going to want her to leave. But Devon made it very clear that he was not ever going to ask her to leave, and that he even, in a very touching moment, he gave her, for her birthday, he gave her, it seemed like an open-ended check that basically said, you can go to any college you want, this is going to take care of it. And she couldn't accept it until Devon said, we're going to name this the Hillary Curtis Memorial Fund. And that I thought was very touching and amazing, that Shana is going to get to go to college, when she probably assumed, I think she even said she was just going to go to a community college and go from there because that's all she could really afford. So on that note, let's get to our law moment. Okay, so originally I actually just wrote down one, but I'm thinking off the top of my head that there's another one I want to mention too. So the first thing that really had me laughing was when Victor showed up at Jack's house. This is before he agreed to the DNA test. And it was just Victor. So Jack goes to look at the door. I think Victor rang the bell. And Jack goes to the door, and it's Victor just staring in at him. I was cracking up. It was hilarious. The other law moment I had was this was the scene between Kyle and Gloria at Jabot when Kyle was trying to figure out what was happening. He couldn't get into the account, and he was trying to figure out what that financial transaction was for. That, obviously we know Billy was using it to gamble. So Kyle goes in, he talks to Gloria because he wants to get access to this file, and Gloria starts sticking up for herself, and she goes, "You are a fly to be flicked away." And then Kyle had some words back at her, right? After that, Gloria literally, she did something like this. It was like a flicking motion with her finger, and she literally flicked him like he was a fly. She didn't even touch him. She just flicked the air. I was like, oh my God, this lady. Pretty much Gloria, anytime she is in Y&R, it's almost guaranteed I'm going to at least find her scene funny. And even though I know she doesn't usually make it onto the law moments, rest assured, she usually has me at least kind of laughing a little bit. All right, so on that note, let's just list a couple of predictions that we have for next week.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
Okay, so some of this is because I feel like I'm cheating here because they listed the preview and what was going to happen. And, okay, so Sharon and Nick, we see them both telling people that they want to be honest with each other. Nick, because he wants to tell Sharon about the affair with Phyllis, and then Sharon about JT. So obviously, they're both bad secrets to admit to each other. You want to know what I think on that, though? I think that only one secret is going to come out, that someone is going to say it first, and either way, it's going to really mess with the relationship, and that Sharon and Nick may end up splitting over this. That's I don't want that to happen, but I have a feeling that's what's going to happen. So that's my first prediction. Obviously, Billy and Phyllis are headed down a really bad road. I have a feeling they're going to break up. They're not doing so well. Everything with the gambling and just the way that Billy's been acting. I have a feeling he's going to be ousted from Jabot eventually. I don't know about next week. But I just have this feeling, too, that him and Phyllis are going to be done for good. So on that note, too, Ray, let me just say one more prediction. Ray, I kind of think if Sharon and Nick break up, that Ray is going to have this, whole thing where, I'm just trying to get Sharon's trust, and then eventually they might actually fall for each other. I want Sharon to be with Nick, but I just have a feeling, it's a soap. Nick and Sharon, people always break up, unfortunately, even though we want them to be together. I just have a feeling that's what's going to happen. So, on that note, let's see if we have any other final comments in the chat. Rainey, her law moment was, mine was the napkin with Jack and Devon. That was hilarious. That Devon was like, yeah, they're pretty expensive. You should put it back, because he was trying to get the DNA. Cliff's answers, I'd be fine if we never see Shana again. Never liked her character. Rainey, yeah, I can do without Shana as well. Hubby Joe, at Rainy J, that was funny with the napkin. It was hilarious. So, on that note, thank you all for joining. My name is Rachel Goodman. You can find me on Twitter or Instagram at Rach Goodman. Be sure to go over to our Facebook Restless Wrap page at Restless Wrap. You can like and follow. I always post the link on there. If you post a comment at the Restless Wrap page, I will read it live on air. So be sure to do that. Any comments you leave on this video, I will read next time. Thank you guys for tuning in. Until next week, have a great day.
Our founder, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.
Herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.